kind of terrible day, you know. But
Ugh.
yeah, oh, it's just horrible. It really
Yeah,
is.
it's tragic.
Yeah, yeah. It just really is. And let me make sure everything's all spooled up and boom, boom, done and done. We'll hurry up and play the old intro.
Live from Utah's Wasatch Front, the pulse of the Mountain West, where the issues that shape your life meet the truth that sets you free. Across Utah, across the Republic, and around the world, welcome. This is KMMU.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're on Political Head Trauma. We have Adam Bartholomew on. He's joining me now. Holly will be on in a bit. And then I'll be cutting out because I got called out to work. I need to go fix something. Something broke. But anyways, impromptu, quick show. Tragedy happened today. Charlie Kirk of Turning Point USA fame. Probably, I mean, easy to argue that he's one of the most meaningful voices on the political right that's not in politics today. He was at the Utah Valley University down in Orem giving one of his college meetups where he entertains questions from the audience, sometimes pro his side, sometimes anti his side, and he answers back. And he's a very intelligent man, knows his history. I mean, the guy, he kind of kicked off starting out against the need for going to college for just like the average person and all of that of college. Probably because college is an indoctrination camp for our youth. And again, you know, there is some jobs I think college is a requirement, you know, for anything from engineer to doctor, things like that. But outside of that, college is probably just a burden you pick up financially. But today he's given his speech, and a sniper shot him and killed him. And if you haven't seen the video, don't seek it out.
Ugh.
It's a gruesome, horrible thing. And the first thing when I saw this that came to my mind was thinking about, have you heard the name Gabriele Princip?
No.
He is the guy who shot the Archduke Franz Ferdinand. That was the fuse that combusted World War I. And he was just I want to say he was like 17, 18-year-old kid who was a part of a left-wing group that, you know, didn't like the monarchy, didn't like that Austria had conquered them and taken them over. And that's the first thing that came to my mind. And that is what I've been thinking about all day today. Charlie Kirk, 31 years old. What does he have? 2 or 3 little kids?
The little kids.
It's a tragedy.
Young wife, little kids, young guy himself. I mean, it's a tragedy all the way. And the other side of this is all these impressionable youth that this happened right in front of, including my own son.
Yes, your son's not very old.
He's only 17, you know, and this is the kind of example that you know, gets being burned into their minds of political discourse in our country today.
That'll be in your son's memory forever.
He was down waiting. He was standing in line waiting to ask a question, when this went down. So
it's awful that your son had to witness that. Yeah, it's just awful. It's awful this happened. And here's, you know what, you lefty puke scumbags, you have equated too long words and violence.
You know what's I found interesting was that I was streaming the No Kings protest, and I stopped 2 blocks before that shooting and shut down my equipment because I was exhausted from traipsing. I had a different setup at the time than I did today, and turned around, went back, and then the shooting happened. And so I went directly back to the park where we'd started, and that's where everybody was ending up. And I was interviewing these Antifa kids, and immediately following the shooting, they were blaming, because that was a left-wing rally, they were blaming us. They were blaming the conservatives for political violence, and they were saying that every time there's something like this, it's the right coming after us. And then here I am today at this Charlie Kirk event, and I'm up on the balcony interviewing the counter protesters. There was probably 50 or so of them that were up on the balcony with their pride signs and their stuff. And I was talking about why they don't like Charlie Kirk, and it was all this stuff. He's this, he's that, he's this hateful bigot, this racist, he supports Trump, who's a racist, like all this stuff. And then they're sitting there the whole time blaming, pointing the finger at Charlie as the bad guy, and then here we come back again, and it's political violence directed at the right wing, directed at conservatives. Like, these guys are, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, but it's interesting to say the least. Yeah.
Well, let me lay it on you. So I was saying that for too long, the left has called speech violence, always calling speech violence. And then when real violence happens,
exactly,
then they blame it on speech and they make excuses for the real violence and everything else. And they need to be careful, because so far the right has not established violence. And when they do, it is brutal. The left is acting like the Weimar Republic, the Marxists and the Bolsheviks in Germany during the Weimar Republic. And when that finally turned around and the right rose up, it got ugly. And the ending of that is ugly. And the outcome of that is ugly. The left needs to dial this back. We cannot function like this anymore. I was watching MS, blow a goat or whatever they're called now.
MSNBC, yeah.
Yeah, MS, chlamydia, whatever. Some bald-headed dork is on there going, well, he should have saw that coming because of the things he said. Say that again, real slow. Because of the things he said. So when this finally explodes in their face, should we say they should have saw it coming? It's going to blow up in their face.
I was on hold with some BBC thing, and Joy Reid was on the air on a panel. Right. And
waste of oxygen. She needs to go apologize to the closest tree.
Trump had just announced, and they were reading out his statement. And what is the first thing she says? She says, but he wasn't widely revered, only by the conservatives. And you're like he just died minutes ago, lady. Wow.
Disgusting.
Disgusting. Deranged. She's deranged. That's the reality.
100%.
These people are deranged. And there were people on the balcony there right after it happened. When it first happened, the gunshot reverberated in that trapezoid setup of buildings that we were in. it sounded for initially like multiple shots because of that. And I thought, was that firecrackers? Is somebody pranking the event? And then we could hear people saying there's been a shooting, and the people on the balcony, they're like this. Let's hope. Not a joke.
Well, they need to realize.
I mean, there's people that were right next to me that were hoping that Charlie Kirk had been hit, and I've got people responding, in celebration after the news, on social media. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting, the reaction coming from people on this.
Oh yeah, and all you empty-headed moronic leftists, you just made a martyr. More people are going to come to his call. So everything that he spoke for that you didn't like is now going to be amplified because you made a martyr.
Well, not only that, it's, when I was just listening to the Tim Pool live feed, the Timcast live feed about
that was a heavy one.
I was only at the very start watching the replay, and some points that were being made, they were equating it to the assassination of MLK and the political, the heated politics of the time, and that one of the things that the similarities was that MLK, like Charlie Kirk, could command 10,000 people to go and do a thing, go and vote for a person, go and, he could, he had that kind of sway, and not just with anybody, but with our young people, the next generation. And so they were kind of equating that to the power that MLK had, but then the flip side of that it's like these public events. Tim Pool is talking about, now we're canceling events with Alex Stein or whatever. And so now, out of fear of political violence, you have in-person events that are being shut down. What's the impact? The loss of Charlie can't be measured, especially not right now. But the loss of just the immediate loss of in-person events, I mean, this is going to have a huge impact on conservative politics, on the movement going forward. Being this threat of political violence, it's like that meme, going around whenever Democrats don't get their way, and it has John Wilkes Booth, pointing their gun.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is going to. It's going to be heavy. I'm telling you, Lefty, you empty-headed morons. The right is going to start responding, and there's a lot of leftists that are innocent in all this, that aren't a part of this radicalism, and you're going to get caught up in it. You better start controlling your own. You had better start shunning them. You better start turning them in. You better start controlling them, because if you don't, when we rise up, it's done. It's over. Party ended. But I've got to pop smoke because
this is the guy. This is, you're talking about. I hear what you're saying. Like this is the prove me wrong. That like, hey, let's talk about it, guy. Like let's sit down and have a discussion, guy. Like of all
that's
the people,
problem. But the left keeps either stochastic terrorism by releasing the criminals back out amongst us, or they have this rhetoric that draws up their retards. Where are we left?
In on this?
I've got to go. You guys are in. I am going to try to contact you from my phone.
Okay. Hi, everybody. It's good to be here. Hi, Adam. I know you and your wife were there today. Is that right?
Yeah, we were there today.
I have been a mess all day. I got to meet Charlie in Milwaukee, and what's sad is when you mentioned JFK and MLK. Well, you mentioned MLK, but that's the first thing that I thought when this started happening. First Trump, then Charlie, and who's next, and at what end, and who's involved. Are we going to get the information we need so that we can get a good investigation? And the thing about Charlie Kirk is he was a man of faith. He was unapologetic in his love of the Savior. He was unapologetic in love for his wife, his family, his reason for putting it all out there and educating our youth. And you're right, he was a man that stood on principle and fact, and he was respectful. He treated people with dignity, even those he disagreed with, and he encouraged a dialogue that so that people could get their opinions out, and then he could get his out. And he was a free speech absolutist. And the thing is, like, why go after him?
Just because
when
he's
all he's doing
impactful
is telling
with
the
the
truth.
next generation. That's why.
Oh,
He's cutting
the reason
through.
Trump won the election.
You got a not only a media but a cultural, a cultural blackout for the youth. Like the media, they want to control every aspect of information that goes into the development of our kids. And Charlie Kirk is able to cut through that and access the minds of these kids and influence them. That's why they're going after him.
Yeah, absolutely. And he gave the vote to Donald Trump, the youth vote. They came
I
out.
think if there's any one person that could be credited with giving us the second Trump victory, there obviously there's so many other people, Scott Pressler, just to name one. But I think if there's any one person that you could just say, hey, without this one guy's efforts, we could probably everything else combined probably wouldn't have been enough to get us over the finish line. And I think that Charlie Kirk's that guy. He's that one guy that you can credit and say, we have him to thank for so many of our victories, with the second Trump administration.
I agree. Elon Musk is someone, Tucker Carlson is someone, but to actually bring the youth out and educate the youth and give them hope again, give them hope and power. They empowered them. And it was, I know young people right now that have been so broken by this because he got them into politics. And I'm not talking 25-year-olds, I'm talking teenagers.
Oh yeah. We this summer we spent a week out in the desert with the Boy Scouts, and these are kids that are high school age and junior high school. And on our return, when we got back, on our ride back, we were listening to the news, finding out what had happened over the week that we were out of touch. And you could see the kids when Charlie Kirk's name is mentioned, on something. I can't even remember what it was, but Charlie Kirk was in the news. They brighten up. Oh, Charlie Kirk! These kids, everybody, every single one of them. Doesn't matter which, what household they come from. They all know who Charlie Kirk is. That's how influential this guy was.
Oh yeah, and I think as we've seen, there was a vigil tonight at the Capitol, and
I missed that.
At the Rotunda at 7. And
how was it?
I didn't attend. We were going to do the show earlier, but our party secretary is there, and she's getting photos for me, and we'll be putting those on the party page, and I always share them on our political head Trump page.
I guess we've got a homeless guy on our. Oh, he's out. Some homeless guy was just on the stream.
Well, and then
he's back. He's back.
The event was put on by our Utah representatives.
Oh,
and
really?
Nicolene Peck, one of our representatives, was there at UVU.
I should have gone up there.
I've seen so many posts from, like, Mike Lee did a beautiful post tonight.
That was
talking about Charlie.
Yeah.
I've been a wreck, but I wanted to do this because Jared's absolutely right. What I'm seeing the feel on X especially is that this isn't a shooting. This is an execution. This is an assassination. And this is a wake-up call to the right to say, these people are terrorists. He was killed.
It's a wake-up call to everyday Americans that I think the message of Charlie Kirk would be, don't what's that saying? If you I don't hide something in a bushel. I don't know what it is, but if you've got a voice, you need to use it, because Charlie Kirk put his life on the line to speak his mind, and he paid for it with his life.
And the thing that I'm seeing, which has me a little bit concerned, is this push of the right to call them terrorists. The left are the party of death, and they're terrorists. If you don't like what someone says, that's their reaction.
Can you guys hear me, by the way?
Violence. We can hear you and see you.
Yes, we can see you.
Dark.
And
Great
hear you.
television, by the way.
I mean, of course, that's the whole thing with the left's message is that anybody that disagrees with them, I mean, but there's memes about it. Everybody's seen the Hitler memes. Everybody I disagree with is a Nazi, and when you do that for years and years, and you villainize, vilify the opposition and call them all the worst names in the book, and you not only do you devalue the actual Nazis, you diminish their what they actually were, but of course you're going to have somebody who's that reacts like what do you do? Oh, what would you do if you go back in time? If you could go back in time and kill Hitler, that kind of thing. Oh, well, we're living in real life and XYZ person is Hitler. What are you going to do?
Right. And we've got a lot of
if you're constantly vilifying your political opposition, if you can't have a single discussion without reacting in violence, taking somebody's father away, because you don't like the things they say, because their words hurt your fifis, and now you're going to react with violence and kill somebody and take someone's life. I mean, it's enraging. It is. That's what it is.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, I don't want a civil war to break out, but I think that people need to pick a side. They either need to decide this is unacceptable, and a lot of my friends who are left-leaning and who don't like Charlie Kirk have picked their side, and they've said this. There's no place for this in America. There is no place for this ever. This is violence. This is horrendous. But the celebrations over this on X, I think they tell a story that is actually where we're at in America. We are so far divided, and people are more angry if you tell them the truth than if you tell them what's in their bubble. To tell them and agree with them, they would much rather hear a lie than to be told they were wrong or told the truth about something. And we're talking the basic founding of this nation and the principles of our nation, and the fact that God was part of the founding of this nation and their unalienable rights. These things that he's educating students on are actually truth, documented truth. And he was a man who walked around with faith on his side, wearing the armor of God and of life and preserving life. And these people can't handle that. And he explained to them in detail why life begins at conception, and saying that your DNA starts once that egg is fertilized. Your DNA starts to become a separate human being. And literally educated college kids, instead of the propaganda they've been told, you're a clump of cells. No, you are not. You are a human being of your own body and soul and mind.
The kids I was interviewing right as the shooting went down, a group of protest kids that were students. One of their things was they were, Charlie, somebody showed him a whale fetus, and he said, oh, that's a human for sure, 100%. So somebody holding up a picture from however far back, and Charlie thought it was and they're like, how, we believe in giving people a choice and not forcing them to give birth and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, cool. So when do you guys think life begins? And they wouldn't answer. And I said, well, just for biological purposes, just for argument, when do you guys think it begins? And we don't know.
They'll say after birth. And he's like, well, what about the people that are born early? Or the self-sustainable? Oh, well, they're not self-sustainable after birth. Mm-hmm. That's the fourth trimester. Is that you can still kill them when they're infants? I mean, I
asked those kids, I said, how about when vocal cords are formed? And if the baby was not submerged in amniotic fluid, it would be able to scream in pain. Is that when life has begun? They wouldn't commit.
No.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, they're dupes for Moloch. That's it. Gotta sacrifice children to the blood god so the harvest is good next year. That's how I see him now.
Jared, you're a person who is like a self-proclaimed anarchist, but organized like freedom, ultimately. How angry are you about this?
Well, before you got on, I said, ever since I saw that, it popped into my mind the name Gabriele Princip. Popped into my mind. And that's the guy who shot the Archduke Franz Ferdinand that was the lighting of the fuse for World War I. World War I happened for all the other reasons. I would argue the death of Franz Ferdinand wasn't even the cause of it. All these other alliances and everything else was the cause. That was just the spark that lit the fuse. And I feel like that's what popped in my mind. Like, we've got this political contest going on that's been arguing back and forth, and it's gone to radical extremes on the left, like radical extremes, where they excuse someone doing legitimate harm to other people by, oh, well, they just had a rough childhood, or they weren't wealthy, or whatever else. And it's getting to a point, and you leftists on this side of the world, you know, at least Eastern European Marxists were manly. God, these guys are just the wimpiest, spineless invertebrate on God's creation. But they're going to draw out severe anger. I am a person, I carry myself armed everywhere I go. That's just how I live my life. But I don't know, maybe more people ought to join my bandwagon. Maybe people need to take self-defense in their own hands. Because sure, what I carry on my hip wouldn't have helped me at that situation, was I in Charlie Kirk shoes. Sadly. But it's getting that way. It's just getting to where if you're around anybody who comports to the Democrat Party or sees themselves as a leftist, you've got to watch your back around them.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go on a train with them. You can't be around them because they lash out. I honestly, I think they're mentally stunted. I don't care how many degrees you can to make you a Marxist, you're still mentally stunted and emotionally challenged.
Guys, I think we need to really, really look at the drugs prescribed to teenagers for depression. I think we need to look at the common connection that this type of group of people follow the Democrat Party. It feels too close, where people develop mental illness. Mental illness is a huge problem in this country, and it's Charlie Kirk last night was talking about the girl in North Carolina, and the press wasn't. And then when they do, it was so, because he said this is equivalent to like George Floyd when because of the situation, the press went all over and policy changed and thousands of words and articles were published about it. But because it's a white woman being victimized by a black man, nothing. It's dark. Media goes dark on it. And it takes the conservative media even to bring it up. And yet the man with his own words said, I got that white girl. I got that white girl. Well, then isn't it a crime?
They make excuses for it.
Sat on our hands, trying not to be called Hitler, trying not to be called racist, trying to do right. by the people that we care about in this country, all of us, not just the right wing. We look at us as a whole, stronger together. And yet people like Charlie who go out and are honest and give people that gives people respect, even the people he disagrees with. People like you and me that we're trying to find answers and solutions are in danger. My husband's afraid. I mean, I've already had stalkers because of what I do. And I try to treat everyone with respect. But by the way, I'm signing up for the gun class at the end of the month because I need to get back to this.
Good. It's next month. What is it? That Saturday and Sunday.
Is
Adam,
it
you need to come up to the class. October,
Yeah.
like, is it 12th, 13th, 13th, 14th? Something like
Okay.
that. Bring Barry with you.
Yeah. I mean, this is a
Your wife,
political
Adam.
violence. This
Your
political
wife
violence.
is in
Carrie and
the
I
same situation.
experienced this in Washington in 2020 during COVID, and when I got recruited to run against an unopposed Democrat, and during our she was out holding a sign that it had Martin Luther King's face on it. It said, "Judge by by the content of their character," and she got assaulted by these little Antifa twerps, punched her in the throat, and kicked her, and ripped her sign up, and the cops took 12 hours to respond. But that was just one thing. Another event, they came in, they took over. We were at Green Lake Park. We had a permit and everything. They took over our event, and to the point where they took over the stage, and we had to just pack up and leave. And these guys came and they'd show up to an event. We had 2,500 people on the steps of downtown Seattle and on the steps of the city hall. And these violent people show up to our event, and it's the same thing here. These guys show up to our events and cause violence. They bring the violence to us. All the violence that happens it's because they show up to our event. We're not going to their events. We're not showing up at their stuff.
No.
We don't go when they're in town. Like when I went to the Bernie Sanders and AOC thing that happened up here in Salt Lake a couple months ago, and there was a handful of the guys from the Utah Patriots, like not even 10. I think there was less than 5 people there, that showed up. And so there wasn't this group of violent antagonists that show up and torch police cars and that kind of thing that we saw throughout 2020. That kind of violence only happens on one side.
And in states that tolerate it. Look at your state.
Mm-hmm.
They took over part of the downtown city and had a city of their own during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I want law enforcement empowered. I want law enforcement to be profiling people. I'm sorry, but if you show up and your hair is a certain color and you've got
the other thing that irritated me about today's events was that
signs.
Did you go to the Republican convention this year?
Absolutely.
So you went into the entrance and you got your bag checked
At the Republican convention,
at UVU?
I didn't get my bag checked.
Okay, well, I did. Maybe it's because I have camera gear, but
Yeah.
they stopped me at the door.
I only brought a small purse.
They checked my bag. So, they had printed tickets for the Charlie Kirk event with QR codes on them, but yet there was nobody scanning for entry. The only security was right around Charlie. I was able to walk right through the same entrance that I walked through for the convention. I was able to walk right in to with my gear bag, my, tripods poking out of the back. I'm yarding stuff out of my pack, as I'm setting up my gear, and there was no security. The only security was right around Charlie Kirk. And when the shooting first happened, I went down there, and I'm looking for my kid and everything. There's Charlie Kirk's team of people with guns and like 2 campus cops. That was it for the first 5 minutes. Was just there was no security in advance. And I've seen there's some people have sent me freeze frames for my own video of the cops that were positioned on the roof there was sheriffs on one of the roofs, not too far from where I was filming, that had the perspective to look right at the at the gunner's location. So, there was some presence there, but as far as like security in the, event security, there was none of that. None of it.
Jason Chapitz came on the
There-
news tonight and he said, we need the police to get their act together. They need to be in communication. I'm the last person that's going to ever say bad about police. But just like in when Trump was shot, the communication was bad. And when you have all these different cities trying to come together and figure something out, or you've got someone that they've received death threats, they receive protests for him even coming into these campuses, the security should have been police officers, and it should have been set up with snipers on roofs because he is such a huge public person, and it should have been handled better. But I still don't think that, I don't know if Charlie Kirk demanded it to be like that.
I think Charlie Kirk is.
I
I
wanna
don't
say-
think he was worried. I don't think he was a fearful person. I
No.
think he was. I think he probably believed in the the best part of humanity.
He did. And
I want to say the police and security, that shouldn't have to be a big deal in just vocal discourse. It shouldn't have to be. The left is driving us to where we have to do this. They are driving us in that direction.
they're giving us the rules to the game, Jared, and we haven't been playing it. But now we have to play by their rules and
We're being
get our kids protected. There needs to be police at every school. We need to have all these people need to be protected, and we have to have a policy where they see a gun and it's done. We can't play by their rules
But
anymore.
we
have
can't
to
have that. We can't have that policy because a lot of us carry guns.
Oh,
I
I'm
don't
saying
wanna
when they
say-
see a gun pointed at someone, you take the shot,
Sure,
like what
but
we saw in Trump.
and I really don't want to have to live in that world.
Yeah, none of us want to live in that world.
No, but it's the world
that's
they
that's the
created.
shitty thing about it. This is
And I
This
wouldn't.
isn't anything
I don't want the police to have to exist in that world. I don't want the police to have to lay on a scope anytime anyone
I've
gets
heard
together. to
the
have a
argument.
cop.
We should be the money we spend on homeless. We should be directing that towards veteran services, and we should be commissioning our stable veterans to protect our schools. As supplement. Maybe some sort of like a exterior guard. Set up. And I'm like, that's a great idea, but I don't want my kid to have to go to school in a freaking fortress like that. Like what kind of society? What is wrong with our society that becomes necessary? That's the real question, because it hasn't been necessary for the
For your
long history of our
childhood.
for the long history of our country. For my
Yes.
childhood, for your childhood, it wasn't
that's where we're at.
necessary. So
The last time it was
what's changed?
necessary. The last time it was necessary were when the Democrats were feeling a big push during the civil rights movement. So they started threatening children at schools and bombing churches. Maybe it's time the Democrat Party goes away.
Well, people are labeling them a terrorist organization, and
They,
what
they
happened
are.
with Tesla, with what's happened with Trump, with what's happened with today, and the celebrating online. I didn't want to see this. I don't want it to be labels and things like that. But we've got to get to the heart of what is causing this, because the world we live in today, our kids are not safe at school. They're not. And Tooele County has done something. I think most of the state has. We have law enforcement visually outside of high schools now. We have we have armed people in the school, guardians now in all the schools in our county. I don't know if that's statewide, but it's absolutely the world we live in. And if I can't be in there with my firearm, making sure my child is safe, then I would much rather the professionals did it, and the teachers want to do it, have the right. And I hope and pray that it doesn't get worse than this. But the people right now are so angry. They are so angry because Charlie Kirk wasn't a politician. He was a man who didn't believe that he was going to be shot at this event. I'll tell you that.
Mhm.
I mean,
He's
Glenn
just a guy
Beck's
that had
children
ideas.
right next to him. Glenn Beck's children were at that awning where he was sitting. I can only imagine what Glenn Beck and his wife went through when his son called them and said, Charlie's been shot. And
That's terrible to hear.
it's horrible. And then Megyn Kelly announces while she's doing an interview with Glenn Beck that he had passed. And we hear from the president of the United States. Like, this is this reminds me of the 60s, where in such a short time, so many.
Yesterday, my kid was excited to see Charlie Kirk. You know, he was down there. Wait, immediately. Where's the line? I got to find the line to get in line for, And then as soon as this thing happened, the second that it happened, I'm calling him on the phone, and I'm like, "Hey, where are you at? Where are you at?" And he was safe. And then he called me. I'd said, "Okay, get out of there, be safe." And then he called me right back and he said, "Dad, Charlie's been shot." And just to hear that in his voice,
he'll never forget it.
He'll never forget that. And I mean, he was so excited yesterday. And then I heard that from him, and I was just like, geez, how heartbreaking,
What do we do? Jeff Adamson says the radical left want you to think about increasing security. They want you to make it harder and costlier to have events like Charlie's, so there will be less of them and less demand for them. How do we keep the message going, the free speech message on college campuses, without letting them win?
Well, I'll tell you right now, Utah should defund UVU. Utah should step up and say, look, you guys need to meet certain benchmarks before the state gives you another dime, before our taxpayers are burdened with you. And especially, they were heading up to Utah State next. Utah State had a 6,000 signature petition to have that event shut down. I would defund Utah State until they tell me they've got to, one, diversify their faculty. I want 50% conservative leaning faculty in there. And if you don't diversify it, we're not giving you another dime. And we need to start doing that.
Jared, that's the opposite of free speech on a college campus. Kids should be able to protest someone coming to their campus.
Sure, but they should not be able to petition to shut it down. And and that tells me that the school is an indoctrination camp. The school is probably 90% progressive professors. I would tell the schools, until you diversify your faculty, that means 50% in the deanship, in the professorship, until you diversify, and we start having multiple, a plethora of voices there, we are not going to fund you. I don't want my tax dollars going to them anyway, and it kind of burns my ass that it goes there just so that they can feed progressive ideas onto the next generation.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reversal of DEI. We should have it be a 50-50 split for anything taking tax dollars. That should be 100%. Something the governor should take on. And yeah, right, because it is the bedrock of they're teaching activism in colleges, and it also, some people can't handle it. It turns into radicalism, and we've got to find the root of this. And I'm afraid it might be medications prescribed to teenagers. I'm afraid it's the propaganda arm of the media. The media is so responsible for the violence.
It's everything. It's everything. It's the water they swim in now. It's social media. It's their entertainment. It's everything. All of their heroes speak just like this. They all say those things. Eminem or whoever, whatever vapid and vacuous thing is popular right now. They all say these things. But we need to, where we have universal politic, which is stealing the tax money from me. If you're going to give it to a school, you demand they meet certain requirements to get it. And I'd say requirement number one, diversify the faculty. That's requirement number one. Requirement number two, open up your syllabus so that we can look at it and see if you're foregoing truth or science or facts for activism. 100%. I don't want the religious people teaching creationism in biology class, but I also don't want communism creeping into my economic class, aside from them teaching what Marx believed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that goes for any school.
Any
Public
school, I think it,
period.
100%, and that needs to be forced from the governor down. So maybe Cox will, push real hard on the back of his thighs, hear that loud pop, and take a breath of fresh air and quit looking at the world through its colon and take control of this state. I doubt it, but maybe he will.
Cox has been
Hopefully,
very good about this today. Cox has been his speeches everywhere he's gone. He's got. I think he's been on it today, and he's been very forceful.
he needs to get on the schools. That
Right.
needs to happen.
But this just happened today, and a lot of people are angry.
It's not just about this moment. It's been going on for 60 years now.
Jeff Adamson makes a great point. He says, why should it be 50-50 split? Utah is a traditional value state.
Hey,
Education should reflect that. And I could not agree more.
Make it reflect the politique. Make it reflect. So if there is, 40% Republican and 15% Democrat, and, what is that left? 55% independent, make it reflect that. But then you start breaking down into Green Party.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I'm just in shock. So
yeah, I'm sorry you went through that, and I'm really sorry your son went through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm freaking
very
pissed
sorry.
I'm pissed off about that. That's aggravating, to say the least.
I see that they believe they have a suspect in custody, but I know the guy that was making the rounds today wasn't the suspect. He was arrested for another reason, which was disturbing the peace or something. I hope that man is okay, because you know how the internets people go after him, and I don't want anything bad. I want justice, and I want him to get the right person. But I don't want this to disappear, and I don't want the FBI to take over, and then we never hear another thing, because
it's a different FBI now, though, isn't it?
Well, I mean, supposedly, we'll see.
Waiting on that Epstein list.
Yeah, right.
Well, didn't it come out that Trump was a informant, and that's why they've been keeping the Epstein list quiet, because he's the main informant on it or something?
I don't know. I heard that from Mike Johnson. It's actually plausible, considering we already know that Trump kicked Epstein out of his properties when he found out he was a perv back in the I think it was in the 90s.
Yeah, it was in the 90s.
That wouldn't be. I don't think that's out of there. I think, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. But
how wild would that be?
Huh?
How wild would that be?
It would be wild. But I think a lot of us would feel a little bit pissed that Trump wasn't leading with that. A lot of us are pissed that Trump ran on this message and now he's backtracking.
How did he run on the message?
He runs on the message of transparency, especially on Epstein. JFK.
I don't know. I've looked into the Epstein stuff, and I think he was asked about it like once or twice in the campaign, and he's like, "Sure." Would you release Epstein files? And he's like, "Yeah."
He was very good about it.
I don't think that's equivalent of a campaigning on the issue.
I think the ones that really went on it hard was Cash and Bongino. But
yes,
correct.
But
I have
Trump said it at convention. He said at a convention that the FBI is going to be more transparent. He's going to get the information out. And yes, he said Epstein. He also said JFK. He said 9/11.
Holly, I have to jump off of here, but let me leave you with quick instructions. So Jackson is driving the 1s and 2s back at the house. So he's the one who's going to turn it off when you guys are done. Just tell him when you're ready, he can stop it,
Well, I got to
And,
wrap it up. I got to wrap it up here anyway, so I don't think we'll be on here too much longer.
Okay, and make sure you check
Unless,
all the
Holly's doing
comments.
it.
I have to go. I'm here at work now, inside and do my thing.
Have a good
Okay.
night, Jared. Thank
So
you.
Yes,
let's read the comments
you.
here, Holly.
Hey, thanks, Adam.
Hey,
You guys
you're
have a
welcome.
good night.
Yep. See ya.
I see Jordan. Did you guys already talk to Jordan?
No, we
So
didn't talk to anybody.
Jordan, he's on YouTube and he says, I attended UVU. I thought it was a great community. It's such a tragedy today. And he says, hey, brother, I was at the Charlie Kirk event at UVU today. This is still Jordan. I'm still processing this, and what a tragedy. I heard a shot and everyone started running and screaming. It was so intense. And Jordan, I think you and Adam's family were in the same boat. I think a lot of people were there today, and I don't think any of them expected this because it's not been an issue in the past. And so I think that tragedy alone is going to sit with so many people. And the other idea that this happened in our state, a state that is red and a state that has values, and we are a Christian state. We are a family-oriented state. It goes to show everyone in the nation that it happens everywhere, and it just takes one. It just takes one, but I don't know that something like this can happen. Just one person. I feel like it would take more than that to get a sniper rifle up on a rooftop at a college. I imagine this has to take at least a couple people to make this happen.
No
or
way.
someone knew about it.
No way. There's no way. I think the only plausible scenario is the one guy. There you can't. There's there were people that were saying, hey, they think there's a conspiracy at foot because he was asked about gun violence and was answering that question when he got shot. And so, that.
And I'm not saying a conspiracy. I don't believe
You
there's.
know,
I
but,
don't like conspiracy theories. But how did he get into the building and the staircase?
Let me tell you. You just walked in. I just walked in. I waltzed in there with this backpack and tripods poking out. Not even a joke. This high above my pack. So sticking out above me, gear coming, hanging. This is a gear bag,
Right.
Nobody asked me, nobody stopped me. I walked right in there, walked right through. There was probably 1,000 kids in there with their own backpacks, so there was no security. The shooter had nothing, very little opposing, that shooter probably
how did he get on a
just
roof?
walked right in. I'll bet you they just walked into the door and the door was open. That's what I think, because I was out there looking. I was out there. As we got pushed out, you could only go certain ways as we're leaving, and so I'm videoing the whole time. And I saw a building. I saw cops on one building that they were one of the first buildings they went and searched. It might have been the building where the shooter was. I don't know, but there was cops up there, and there was like a ladder with a pipe around it going right up there, and I've seen those kinds of things. Like there's one at the building across from my work, where you can climb up onto the warehouse building, and it has like a gate that you have to get through. So I don't know, maybe there was a gate. I didn't get close enough to see, but it looked to me like anybody could just climb right up on the roof if you just walked in. So I can't imagine there was too much in the shooter's way in that regard. I was surprised at how little security there was. So
that's heartbreaking. Stevie Stevens says, very sad day. My eyes are wet. Also, Jared. Shane Beecher says, yeah, the right has already woke up over this. You can see it all over Facebook. These little wimps on the left are going to find out why the second protects the first. And these people that are trying to FAFO are going to wish they got away with gun ban bullshit, because when the law-abiding gun owners go woke like these cowards, the game is over. He also says there is no place for the left anymore. And that's when Jeff Adamson also mentioned about why should it be 50-50? It should reflect the values of the state where it comes to staff. KCB says, I'm laying down in bed next to my loving wife, and I'm thinking about how Erica won't have Charlie lying next to her. I pray that God removes this anger I have in my heart. That's where I am, Casey. I'm so angry. But I also know this is such a rooted problem in this nation. But when the people who are trying to share a message of hope and faith and give you solutions to problems that are cultural, a simple solution like, I don't know, save yourself from marriage if you don't want to worry about abortion, or, listen to your neighbor, be there for your neighbor, arm yourself. These messages that he has shared, when he is the target and the video is going around of this awful hit, I was stunned. When I saw it, I just broke down and I got on my knees and prayed. I know the world felt helpless in that moment, and I never thought he would make it because of how bad it was.
Just terrible.
But we wanted a miracle today, and at least I think it would have been fast for him. I hope it was, and I have no doubt he is in the kingdom with our Savior, because he never, ever did anything other than talk about his faith and shared the message of Christ. And I think we all are in a place where I think those of us who are public figures and those of us who are trying to fight the good fight and still give people their dignity and respect and just logic, just coming at logic. This is the number one thing I live by, because people stop listening when you become a jerk. They stop listening when you are calling names and all of that. And if you want to educate the people around you, you have to treat the people fighting you with respect and just use facts, not feelings. And that is something Charlie Kirk was brilliant at. And that's why so many people listened and followed, because he could educate everyone while one person is coming at him. His behavior alone turned people's ears on to where they went, wow, this guy's going low, Charlie's staying high. And I think that message, your wife is great at that message. You're great at that message. I think that it puts fear, for me, in our representatives. And I mean, if Mike Lee was out there doing an event, I don't know how much security he'd have either. Been to many events with many electeds. I don't ever see snipers unless it's the president. And then I see them, I know they're there. And I'm still at this point, I'm in shock. I'm sure you're in shock. This has been a devastating day. I think everyone will remember, at least people who loved Charlie Kirk, they'll remember today. And I hate that it's Utah in every broadcast.
I know, it's got to happen in our community.
And it was Orem, Utah. Let's remember that the man was killed by the FBI who was putting violent rhetoric on his Facebook about Biden. When Biden was coming to town, and they killed him. I don't know if there's a correlation. I don't know whoever did this, if they had a track record of, I mean, most shooters, the second we find out who they are, their social print, digital footprint disappears. It literally disappears. And I want to understand this. And I think we need to know what chemicals we're putting in our bodies, especially our young kids' bodies when their gray matter is still growing. And what is causing people to have so little concern for life? They don't care about it. And I think that is a tragedy in itself. So I know you've got to get, how's your wife doing? I've appreciated her updates today.
She's been, she's torn up. So she's emotional. She's wrecked right now. Yeah.
He had 2 little tiny kids. He married to his soulmate. And God was the center of their marriage. And he loved our kids. He loved the kids of America. And he thought more of them than either party had ever thought. He believed in the youth of this country and believed that Gen Z was going to be the difference in saving our republic. And I believe he was right. We needed them so badly. And so I think a lot of kids tonight are really upset about this. And just like when John Lennon and JFK, RFK, Martin Luther King Jr., my parents still know where they were when those things happened, and they were devastated. And I think we're back to that. And I don't want a war to happen. I certainly don't want a civil war, but I think there are people, especially the right-wing conservatives, watching from social media alone. They're pissed, and they're sick and tired of being the good guy and being the stomping ground for the left. And I can't tell them otherwise. It's always our fault. It's always our fault.
I gotta get off this stream, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, it's a terrible thing that happened.
Thank you for being on the show.
I don't know what else to to add to it. Yeah, my wife probably have another perspective for you. I don't know if you want to shoot an invite her way.
Well, I'm just going to wrap it up. I will let you go, and then I'll just wrap it up with the audience.
So,
do you want to push your website or your Facebook page?
Well, I mean, I've been everybody that's asked for the footage. I've just told them to credit, my handle. It's @LifeIsDriving on Twitter and on YouTube, and I'm with Main Street Media Utah, and that's how I've been crediting this whole thing. So, follow us at kmmu.org, see what we're up to. We really want to give Main Street Utah a voice, and it's just sad that this kind of thing is what we're covering. It's heartbreaking. So I really hope we have a better way forward. And it sucks. So.
Thank you so much, Adam, for being on tonight. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Be safe.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye. How do I do this?
Sorry, I think you just...
Here we go. See ya.
Bye. Sorry about my grainy camera, friends. I decided to call in from home because we didn't know if Jared would be called out, and he was. And I don't mean to be emotional. I try to do things with grace, and I think it reflects a lot about what's going on in our country. And I know that I know a lot of people are hurting tonight, but none more than his poor wife. And he was a friend to so many of our politicians, and not even just all Republicans. He's never found a place that he didn't go into, knowing he was going into a pit. He would go in on a debate at any time because he truly, truly believed that our republic would be saved with free speech and open dialogue, that would protect us from civil war or communism or anything if we just had our arguments in the public with respect and with facts, provable facts. And when someone like this is hurt, then we all kind of have to take a step back and be angry and be sad and feel your feelings, but please don't do anything rash, people. Please let the investigation continue and we find out what's going on, and pray. That is not an empty question or an empty. To me, it is everything. I trust that God will get us through this. This is his country. We are his people. We are his children. And I just hope everyone will pray for his family, for his fans, for his babies and their future, but for all those kids today at UVU that saw this horrific thing happen, and for the police that were there to protect him, and the police now investigating. I pray for our state and for our country. I think that today is a big wake-up call. Our Tooele County Republican secretary has been at the vigil tonight that was held at the Capitol Rotunda in Utah. So I'll be posting more about that. Christina Brownham is our secretary, and she decided to go up. We have a lot of people in Tooele County that are there. I know all over the state. I know Utah County is the most affected by this. This happened in their backyard. They're devastated. Our governor has been leading well and trying to get to the bottom of this. Our Senate senators, Mike Lee, our representatives, Jason Chaffetz, like these people are coming out and they are just begging the public to stay calm and let's figure this out, but at the same time to honor a man that didn't, no one deserves this, no one, but to honor a man that, well, definitely didn't deserve this. And so, Jackson, if you're listening, I've read all the chat that people have left. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. I know that we don't usually do this on a Wednesday night. It's impromptu. I'm sure that many of you are wondering what's going on. But I just want to say that I'm extremely grateful for you tuning in. Please leave your comments. If there's something you want to say, Jared and I will most likely discuss this on our show Friday night, starting at 6 p.m. And we will go live there. I also wanted to thank kmmu.org. They've been a huge support of our show. Main Street Media is the company that makes sure we broadcast to everyone when we need to. As Adam said, that's part of his podcast as well. And we're trying to work together to bring truth to our community and educate our populace here and listen. That is something we're all trying to do, and we all try to do it with grace. We all try to do it kindly and respectfully. In our county, we've got a lot of people angry and hurt, and I'm sure that's all over the nation right now and places all over the world because Charlie Kirk was important, and I think Jared's right. They've made a martyr of him, and I think a lot of people are not going to forget this, and they are certainly done standing for it. So we have to call it when we see it. We cannot kowtow to the left any longer. What's fair is fair. We have a constitution that ensures our liberties as individuals, and the government doesn't give those liberties. God gave those to us, and we have to protect them. And the government should protect us. When people commit crimes, when people are too ill to be in the streets because they pose a danger, they need to be taken off the streets to protect the people. And the people that are living in neighborhoods with 50 shootings a weekend, those people deserve protection as well. And when police are minutes away, you may only have seconds. So you should use your Second Amendment and protect yourself and your family. We're living in a scary time, but I want you all to be safe. I want to feel safe. I want my children safe. And I sure as heck want the people that represent me to be safe. But you all deserve it. And whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, it doesn't matter, or an independent. Your life matters. You're here for a reason. And those people that are mentally ill matter, and they need help. But we have to definitely get together and figure this out and find out where it's coming from and how we can stop it. And it takes a DOJ, and it takes the president, and it takes the Department of Health, and it takes parents all around this country to watch their kids and to be present with their kids and know what they're going through and what's going on at their schools and on their social media accounts and with their friend groups, and pay attention. And if your child is someone that may be violent, we need tools for those parents so they have someone to back them and tell them what to do, because a lot of people have no idea. And my heart goes out to those parents. My heart goes out to the children who are suffering with mental illness. But we have to make sure we are protecting the population of this country, and people deserve to feel safe. And I'm grateful for for the community I live in, I feel extremely grateful. And I know not everyone has that community, and I wish that every state could work to make sure people get that and they can find that and resources. And our government has only a couple jobs laid out in the Constitution, and we need to bring back institutions for people who need them, and we need prosecutors to start prosecuting for crimes. And ICE needs to get violent criminals out of this country that do not have any rights to be here. We have to do this as a collective group, and it's not hate. It's not hate. It's the job of this government. It is the job of our electeds to do their due diligence and find out who does not belong on our soil, especially if they're violent criminals and mentally ill people. They belong on our soil if they're citizens, of course. But they need hospitals. They need help. And as a community, we need to do that. We need to make sure those people are getting care. So, with that in mind, I would, if there are no more comments, I just would like you all to be safe and say a prayer for his family tonight and for the people who are mourning him. And tomorrow we think about it again and we pray for clarity. And we hope that whoever did this is prosecuted and we can get to the bottom of this. I wish you all a very safe and good night. Hug your kids tight. Pray for our country, for our republic. And let's stay united as a community. The people of Utah, this does not define us. And no matter what the press says, we know who we are, and we are a state that is bound with values and family and love, and above all else, God. So let's please share that message. Let's share the message with the world. I wish you all the best, and I thank you. And I hope you have a good night. Tune in on Friday for our 6 o'clock show right here on KMMU and on Political Head Trauma, as well as on Facebook, Twitter, or sorry, not Twitter, YouTube and Rumble. And good night, everybody. See you Friday.